So yeah, you might as well go and leave her where she lay.
One more thing too, because this is for men and women, and it's not no corny shit. This is real game. Like, people need to understand their language, man. People don't even be knowing what love language is, and that's one of the most fucking. Put it like this, like, so a dude could come to me and say, "Man, I do everything. I buy my woman Louis Vuitton. I buy her this jewelry. I just took her to Jamaica 2 weeks ago. But yeah, but your girl language is she just like to be up under you and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or just, I like kind gestures, so a woman can buy me some Jordans and it ain't gonna hit the way it hit for her baby daddy, because I don't give a fuck about shoes and shit like that. So you gotta know what your language is. It's physical touch. You may be doing all types of stuff, but just the cuddling shit. Or she just want to be told thank you. You ain't doing that, but you bought her a car, and so you think that you popping it, but she just want to be appreciated. You gotta have them conversations, and you gotta tell the woman how to love you, because what's gonna happen is she's gonna show you the type of love. But guess what? If she's single, she's showing you love from a failed relationship. She bringing that shit to you. And if you don't clarify what it is you need, like, boom, her and her ex might have went out to eat every night. You like home cooked food. She dragging you all around town and shit. That's not your vibe. But you haven't put the leadership shit down to tell her, because you like how you like the booty and whatever it is you like. You cannot fault a woman for not treating you right if you ain't told her what it is that you want, but you also gotta have something for her too. So a woman ain't just gonna do it because you say it. A woman ain't gonna respect you just because you were married and you got some balls. It's gotta be something in it for her too. Whatever that is, safety, leadership, constant sex, you a good ass cook, whatever it is, she need to feel it too. You know, it's kind of like dealing with women. You're a character in their movie. You got to understand that. If you are a nice guy, right, and a woman just boom, so a woman might have came from a toxic cat, and then you're a super nice guy because she want the opposite of what hurt her, and then flip that around. If you were a nice guy and she was bored as hell, she gonna want a toxic cat or just somebody that's gonna excite her. So it's understanding yourself and understanding women at the same time.
Yeah, and that's just as you as a man setting expectations, setting the boundaries. You have to do that, and you have to do it off rip. And if it means you may end up losing because she don't like what you have to say or your standards or your morals, then so be it. Let it be. Move on to the next. You got options out there. Me and as us as the prize, exercise your options.
Shan.
I think Shan is frozen in time.
No. Yo, when a man is that focused, that was him texting the booty call for that night. Everybody know what that looked.
Yeah, he's trying to set up in 20 minutes.
That's the sniper look.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go to Luis, and then
he didn't deny it. Look at him.
And then I'll go to B Madden. Go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, man. You know, a lot of good stuff was shared. You know, one of the things I'm gonna say right up front is you have to know who you are as a man. That is very important to understand who you are as a man and how you show up. And you know, you have to establish a non-negotiable with people, especially with women that you're dealing with, and set the tone early on. Because if you don't, there's just going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be up for interpretation, and there's going to be reasons why you're going to be nitpicking. You didn't establish anything up front. And when we talk about boundaries are just not limited to relationships. They're also expanded to friendships, boundaries with family, boundaries with co-workers and associates, right? There's all forms of different boundaries that you have to establish with these people that you're in community and proximity to, right? And unfortunately, that comes as a byproduct of you not really understanding who you are. What are the things that you are willing and not willing to accept, and what things are worth. Not every battle is worth dying on that hill. You have to understand, let people know up front where you stand on certain things and what you expect out of them. Because if not, they're just going to always cross those and cross that boundary line, especially women for that, because they're always going to try to test you. They're always going to try to see if you stand on what you say. if you don't eat, carrots, she's gonna serve you carrots to see if you really don't eat them, right? That's her form of her testing you. And in terms of like the whole love language thing, like I get that, like men need to learn and understand their woman, and that's their sort of form of a boundary of something that is non-negotiable for them. But at the same token, you have to establish as a man, what are your respect languages? You know what I'm saying? Women have love languages, men have respect languages. You have to establish them right up front so they understand where you are. Respect my judgment, respect my abilities, respect my communication, especially when I'm telling you that something is non-negotiable with me. Also, respect me in public. And lastly, but not least, respect my assumptions and decisions, especially when it comes to interrelationship dynamics. Far too often, people are a little bit too passive and not assertive. And sort of that's where you get a lot of these spills that tend to happen, and they create a lot of these hiccups in relationships. So that's what my thoughts.
All right, be mad. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot on this one. Honestly, men who nitpick, that puts men kind of in an emotional state. You're clearly in an emotional state if you're the one that's nitpicking. It's a lot of female tendencies. If you're the one doing a lot of nitpicking, it's one thing, having structure. It's one thing, having a woman understand, what you're about, what you're looking for. The only nitpicking I can see that makes sense is like, hey, you cook the food, the food's cold, can you warm it back up? You didn't quite clean up that well, we got to be mindful of this and that. I don't find that really nitpicking. I find it, it's a level of constructive criticism, that you can have in your relationship. And I think that's healthy. And that's having good communication. I don't call that nitpicking, but you just nitpicking in general, kind of like, how most women do. Again, I think those are female tendencies, and that puts you in an emotional state. And it's almost like some of those guys are really argumentative. Most men shouldn't argue with their women, with their women or woman. They shouldn't. I think it's one thing, hearing them interject and get all their things out, because they're usually in an emotional state, but you stating the facts and then eventually putting your foot down and say, hey, this is where we're at, this is what's going on. You come to a solution, boom, there it is. If there's a whole lot more than that, that might not be, and it's consistent, that might not be the one that's supposed to be for you, I believe. But you shouldn't be in an emotional state dealing with a woman too often. You have to keep your frame, like we were talking about earlier, and be able to communicate effectively. And then the don't have boundaries part, I mean, that's part of your frame. If you have frame, you have boundaries, you have standards, and that's extremely important for any man to have.
Be mad and pretty much said, put your
I
foot
think
on
it's just
that.
demeanor too. Just it's not even what you say and the shit that you say and how the rules and all of that. Because if you can say all that, if you don't mean business, it don't fucking matter. Like it's your demeanor, like it's just who you are, and like just they gotta know, like, because some dudes be trying to give a woman a little pushback and then they get on punishment, then they just go right back. So this is like, you wasn't for real business.